Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video, and today I have made another tier list on PvZ heroes. Now, this tier list is going to be all the uncommon plant cards in the premium set, so set 1, so like the first ever cards made. Now, I have done tier lists before on this game with the heroes and basic cards. And now I'm going to move on to the uncommon cards because I've pretty much played all of these cards. I know what each one does. I know their strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, this tier list is going to probably be a long one, but I'll try and get through them as fast as possible. There isn't many bad ones. I mean, now that I say that, there's a lot of ones in C tier. But actually, I take that back. There's a lot of bad ones, but there's a few good ones. So yeah, let's get right into the video. So starting off in the bottom tier, I have Cactus. This has really poor stats. Too much health. Doesn't do enough damage really. I mean, one bullseye damage on turn 2 isn't the worst thing. I mean, there's better cards to do this, like with what's her name? I'm really bad at remembering names in this game, guys. Let me get the game up. I'm trying to remember what one card is called. Yeah, I can't remember it. Here it is. Sting Bean. Yeah, I think Sting Bean is a better version of Cactus because it's cheaper and you can put it in the Amphibious. One bullseye damage, but it's on turn 1, so it's better. Cactus just kind of has more health, and more health doesn't mean better. Yeah, it's just really outclassed, really. However, this could be quite good with Grass Knuckles, as he does have really good cards that can buff damage and health to make it really strong. Which is why I think Bullseye is probably the best with him. I mean, he literally has a strategy deck made after Bullseye. So, yeah, I don't think Cactus is just mainly bad. It's not that great. Gardening Gloves is up next. It's really just, I don't like this. I feel like if it was just Smoke Bomb, but for plant side, it would be better. Because Smoke Bomb is already a really nice card, but this just feels like the worst version of it. First off, it costs 2, which is way above Smoke Bomb. It just, to move a zombie, it should only cost 1. And then increase their strength by 1. This should literally just be that again. Gardening Gloves draws you a card, so I guess, you know, if you're in a sticky situation, it's not that bad, but the fact that I just don't use this is really outclassed. It's outclassed by Smoke Bomb on the zombie side. It's just not really great. I don't see this played much, and I don't play it much. In fact, I don't play it at all. So it's just bad. It costs too much. It should really just cost 1. Like, move a plant, draw a card instead of increasing their strength. Then maybe it'd be viable. Anyway. Moving on to water balloons. This costs too much. This is a worse version of Nibble. Now, I'm really not a fan of the cards that are like, oh, on turn 6, this does more. I mean, there's only really one good card that has that I can come to mind, that is Morning Glory. I'll get to her later, and why I think she's actually decent. Why does it cost 2? It should just be the plant version of Nibble, never mind the ability. It should cost 1. Like, I don't know why you had to go out the way to make it so much worse. I know it's a solar card, so getting sun isn't really the hardest thing, but still, it's still bad. Like, it could do more. But, why would they ever change something in this game to make it better? Next, we have Venus Flytrap. The weakness of this is it only does 2 damage. So, you're not really healing much, but I guess this is fine. I don't know why I put it in D tier, really. I mean, I don't really know with this card, because I really haven't played it enough. But it's just the 2 damage, it's just not enough to heal you. You need other things to heal you more, like Little Buddy heals you the same amount and that costs 0. So it just kind of gets outclassed by a 0 cost card with no attack. However, if you do buff this up, then it's going to heal you for a lot. If you can play with Chompzilla and put fertilizer on it, or grow Shroom, that works too. But if you don't have that, then this card is pretty much just useless anyway. This is okay to pair with Pepper MD. I give this one probably a D+. It's better than probably all the others here, but it just kind of falls short. Yeah, I've got a really bad cold, guys. I'm really sorry. Just got back from holiday as well, so I might explain a few things. It was a fantastic holiday, by the way. It was Turkey. Anyway, let's move on to C tier. We'll start with Sea Shroom. Now, Sea Shroom just has the same problem as every single amphibious card. It has low stats for a 2 cost. A 2 cost 2/2 isn't really the best, and it can get answered by Bungee Plumber. It could get weakened by Nibble really easily. It's just not viable. Viable? Ugh. It's just not good, okay? It doesn't really do enough for its cost. It needs to do more. Anyway, moving on to Steel Magnolia. This card, I guess, is fine. Like, it's not amazing. Oh, look at that, you've just buffed all your minions by 2 health. Wait a minute, Walling Stone exists. The Hearty class is so good against the Guardian class. Like, with Guardian, you're not really having high damage. If anything, you're having high health because the Mechanolith exists. But Mechanolith is weak to Walling Stone. So, like, yeah. Walling Stone is like the silver bullet to this class, really. Although, if you can get, cards that can buff your guys up more than 2, then that's fine, I guess. Spadile, maybe, if you've got Spineapple with loads of walnuts, and you've got Very Angry, we'll get to later, maybe. I'm going off topic here. Steel Magnolia, yeah. 2 health, it really depends who you're going up against. If you're going up against someone who, has a lot of minions down that's going to take out your guys, then you just put this guy down, it's going to stop that. Right, moving on to Potato Mine. This is probably the most annoying card to go up against with AI, because you just put something important down, they just put it in front of it. It's kind of annoying. I mean, AI in this game are just annoying in general, but Potato Mine is not bad turn 1 answering card. It can answer lots of things. Cheese Cutter, Grave Robber. It can't answer Con Man, because I guess it leaves it on 1 health. I feel like the better version of this is probably Primal Potato Mine. I don't know if it's really better. I haven't really played with these much as 2, but I have played with Potato Mine a lot more, and I don't know. It's not a great card. It only does 2 damage. I guess it has team up, so if you want a guy to kind of, not die and then do more damage to that zombie, then Potato Man's quite good. Moving on to Water Chestnut. Why is this a card? 8 health, cost 2, it's amphibious. You would think it's pretty good. It's not. Why would you ever want to protect yourself in the amphibious lane? I don't get why this has amphibious in the first place. Amphibious cards are normally bad anyway, I guess it is. Wait, can the Zombot Plank Walker go in the water lane? I don't think it can. I wouldn't know these things, guys. I'm a professional idiot, after all. Let me see. Plant Walker, Sneaky. I wouldn't be surprised if it could. Yeah, it's amphibious. Anyway, strike through, so not like it really does anything. Just Water Chestnut is just not really good at all. It just kind of It don't even have much health compared to Walnut, and because of its cost. Like, you're only getting 2 health more. You're not really getting the deal here. I feel like if this was to be really reliable, it should have like 10 health, maybe. Might be overdoing it, but it just lacks so hard. Bluesberry. This card would be better if it was cheaper. Like, there's a card like this in Zombicide, Conga Zombie. It's a 2 cost, 2/2, does 1 damage. Which is quite good with Electric Boogaloo and Evaporate. If you put a strong minion down on turn 2 and it gets hit by Conga and you've got Evaporate, then that's a really good combo. That's why I think Evaporate's better with Boogaloo. Because Boogaloo has Bungee Blubber as well. He has all these really good abilities. So, yeah. Bluesberry, on the other hand, is not that great. It has bad stats for 5 cost, and only really does 2 damage, which isn't a lot in the late game. I mean, you've got cards like Bungee Plumber on turn 1, and I guess you do have Berry Blast on turn 2 that does 3 damage, you have Banana Bomb. There's just better ways of doing 2 damage in this game. Yeah, it's kind of sad, really. This could be a really good card. I guess this is kind of good with Sergeant Strongberry because, you know, you're doing 2 damage. He's going to do damage to that zombie as well. But I'd say Sour Grapes is really better with that because it hits everyone. So it's going to do a lot more damage and do a lot more effect on the zombies. So just kind of outclassed, you know. Moving on to Pair of Pairs. Now, I don't know, this just isn't really that great. It's an more expensive version than Shroom for 2, and it's a worse version than Shroom for 2. Because Shroom for 2 really is probably an A tier card. It's really good for turn 1. Like, if they put something important down, you can just put one in front of you, at least you've got 1 minion after that. Or you could just put it in another lane, and then, I don't know, if you've got Nightcap, then, you can do the raining ability. What is it? I really need a better memory, guys. Could you guys give me a brain, please? Yeah, comment. Just put a comment down in the video saying you gave me a brain. And that should be nice. Stormfront, that's what it's called. Or you could have Bushroom. Bushroom's quite good with Shroom for 2. I mean, overall, it's not that great because Bushroom really isn't good. Well, I don't know. It's kind of... I don't know. But Pairs of Pairs doesn't really do enough for turn 4. By turn 4, you want, like... No, it's not really the turn for finishers. That's more turn 5 and onwards. But you want something good. And Pair of Pairs does not really do that. Moving on to Sizzle. Do 5 damage to a zombie. And it costs 5. Bungee Plumber does 2. And it costs 1. That's already a better deal. Berry Blast is already a better deal. What I don't get about this card and another card on the zombie side, the cake. Exploding Cake. It's not Exploding Fruit Cake, that one's good. But, Cake Explosion, I don't know. It's got a name. Cake. Is the fact that after, like, 2 cost removal cards like Berry Blast, for some reason, however much Brains or Sun it costs, it has to do that much damage as well. Like, why can't this cost 4? Why can't Cake Explosion or whatever it's called cost 3? It doesn't make any sense. I'll get to Cake Explosion if it is called that in the next tier list where I do the zombies. It's just kind of overpriced, like overpriced carrots in Minecraft. Moving on to the first Mega Rare plant is Sweet Potato. Yeah, there's a reason why this isn't C tier. This is a worse version of Walnut, and it only really moves something to like turn 1. This is really bad. Like, I guess if they've got like a cheese cutter or a con man, then you can kind of stall that damage, but you don't have much health anyway, so it's gonna die. And if you've got like, I don't know, chimney sweep, and then it just dies, because if it's on the heights, you move it over, it's just gonna kill it. And then you've basically done nothing except for move it. So it's just kind of lacking. It really does lack. It is not a great plan. I don't use it at all, except from using it once to make this video, and I hated it, and I hated it so much. It's a horrible plant. You should never, ever, ever keep it. Same with pretty much all the plants here. I'd just get rid of them, really. Fume Shroom. I really wish there was a better call, because I love Strike Through in this game. Strike Through in this game is amazing. With Infinity, with Solar Flare, with Wall Knight, with basically any sneaky or solar hero. This is such a fun game mechanic. Now, Fume Shroom is probably one of the worst Strike Through plants in the game. It dies to pretty much everything. It dies to Bungee Plumber. It dies to the side effects of Z-Mech Missile Madness. So if you've got an even better guy on the field, they just kill that and it kills it as well. Yeah. Not that great. I know, I do wish this was better. Maybe if it was just a 2-cost 2-2. Maybe. I mean, it'd still get answered by Bungee Plumber, but it'd have better stats, I guess. Sort of, not really. Maybe if it did 3 damage, then it'd be a little more viable. Keep it to 1 health. It'd kind of make it more answerable. Because really, I don't really care if I keep this alive when the turn is played. Because it really doesn't do that much unless you buff it. I mean, you have Trumpzilla, who does have Fertilize and Growth Room, which is quite nice. So, I guess this is meh with Bushroom. I have had instances where I've put these two together. But even then, it's still at 2 health, so it died to Bungee Plumber literally that exact turn. So, yeah, it just kind of doesn't do enough. It doesn't do enough damage, really. It should do 3 damage, probably, in order for it to actually do something. Moving on to Metal Petal. This is a more expensive version of Sunflower, although, yeah, its stats are not great for 4 cost. If this was a 3 cost, however, this would be one of the best cards in the game, because it would do decent for a 3 cost. I mean, most of the times this is played, it just doesn't die that turn. But this isn't the hardest card to answer. I mean, on turn 5, you've got big finishers like Surprised Gargantua. That would kill it. Any Gargantua will kill this thing on turn 5. Unless they have some way to deal with that Gargantua. I mean, it's a solar class, so water balloons, but oh wait a minute, costs 2 and it only does 1/1 because you're probably oh wait a minute, if this is alive then you will be on 6. Huh. Ah. Never mind that. But still, if they put a Gargantua in front of it, it's just gonna die, isn't it? So it only really lives for the turn it's played. Sometimes it dies on the turn it is played. But, nah, it's not really great. Right then, moving on to the middle tier, we have Peanut. I say this is low middle tier because I really don't like this thing. The amount of times I have used this in Wall Knight, and I've tried to put, what's his name? I have so bad memory. It is actually quite scary how I have this bad memory. Elderberry. I've tried to put Elderberry in this and I've missed a couple of times, and it is the most infuriating thing in this entire game. Trying to put a fusion on a team-up is torture. You don't go through that pain in the zombies side because team-up doesn't exist on the zombies side. With plants it does, and team-up plants ruin everything. Team-up plants always ruin fusions for some reason. If you're not careful enough, you'll end up just messing everything up and losing the entire game because of it. Let's actually talk about the card then. Why is it not that great? Well, it does 2 damage in S4. It has decent stats for a free cost. I don't really like this a lot, really. It's not my cup of tea. I kind of removed it from aggro all night for the exact reason from Elderberry. Because I just kind of got sick of every time I would literally let go of Elderberry when it was on it and it went behind it. So annoying. Anyway, moving on to Poison Mushroom. This is a really good turn 1 card if they played something. Only when they've played something though. Because if you play something when they've not played something, then most likely you're going to be saying bye to it, because Bungee Plumber is going to go in and just take care of it. Or Nibble. Yep. Nibble and Bungee Plumber is this thing's weakness. Or just anything on turn 2. Because once this guy's down, they're going to put something in front of it. And when they do, then it just becomes a useless 1-1. So yeah. It's not great stats anyway, but when it's anti-hero, it's good. 3 damage is quite good on turn 1. So, pretty good. It's better than Mini Ninja, I'll tell you that much. I think anti-hero is better for plants anyway, because they have, they can plan after the zombies. They can wait until the zombie overcommits and then just put Poison Ivy in an empty lane. I'll get to Poison Ivy in a bit and why I think it's one of the best cards in the game for me. Anyway, moving on to Berry Angry. Now, I actually like this card. If you've got loads of little mushrooms down, Shroom for 2s, buff shrooms, just buffing a lot of your guys in, Berry Angry comes in with the clutch. Now, it only buffs their strength, which is a shame. Which is probably a bad thing, because Bungee Plumber exists, but if you've got loads of mushrooms down, then they're going to have decent health anyway. So, yeah. I mean, I really don't use mushrooms much. I should probably use them more. I mean, I don't have any proper good mushrooms though, so that's where I'm lacking. Speaking of mushrooms, Mushroom Ringleader. Now, like Peanut, I think this is low B. This is, again, good with mushrooms, because mushrooms are really good to swarm with, because you've got Mushroom Grotto as an environment, so if you're lucky, you might get lots of credit out of it. However, it has 1 health, so it is basically answerable by every single removal card in this game. If it's got high attack damage, then they've got Rocket Science. That'll be like Super Brains, because you don't really have anything to do 2 damage. Unless he's packing the game. Which he probably might be if it's in AI. Literally caught him in a tutorial putting Bungee Plumber on a plant. Like, no. Anyway, it's just a tutorial, so yeah, it just gets answered by everything. But if they don't have anything to answer it, then it's going to do a lot of damage, so yeah. If it doesn't die the first time you put it down, expect it to die after. It's just going to die. It's going to be your main target, so this kind of acts like a control card, because they're going to want to answer it and get rid of it while you can develop other things. So, I don't know. Going to Peapod. This dies too often for me. I always put this down and it just gets answered. Like that. Answered. It's what happens when you go against an AI too much. You just kind of rage up the game more. I mean, I've stopped going against the AI because it's the stupidest thing in this game. I'm sick and tired of them having every card they ever need to win. I'm sick of them pulling a card that will make them win the game in just 1 second, even though they probably didn't get it in their starting hand, but oh wait, they get every card they need. I swear they must get every card, like, in their deck, and they're just allowed to pick which one they want to use. It's just not fair. Fighting against AI is not fair in this game whatsoever, except from the missions where they're actually dumb and actually give you a chance. When you go in random battle, it's just not even fair, because they fight you with better decks than you, which is the main thing I have a problem with the AI. It's not really fair, because at the start of the game, you're fighting against them with, bushrooms and button mushrooms. Yeah, they're just pulling out things like, I don't know, Unlife the Party, Conga, things that just answer that and destroy it. It's just not that great. Which is kind of why I hate Peapod, because it just gets answered by everything. Now, also, when I go against the AI, they always seem to put this down at the right time and then just keep making it stronger and stronger and stronger. And then I don't get the cards that I need to get rid of it. This game is favouritism in the AI. Anyway, moving on to Sky Shooter. I should probably stop raging about AI. Right, I'm sure we all think the same about AI. They all suck. Right, Sky Shooter. This is only good in heights. If it's not played in heights and you play it on the ground level, then you're officially stupid. It's not great to have 4 of these. I'd say the maximum you would ever want is probably 2. Just so you have a bit of a chance of drawing one. Even then, 2 is not great. This is a problem I have with plants and zombies that are only good in heights. Is that if you get too many, then you can't put them all down, because there's only one heights lane. And that's just reminded me of a time I did one of the plant missions where it was all height lanes. And sorry about that, guys, my puppy accidentally got hurt. You probably heard a little scream in the background. That was him. Yeah, Sky Shooter, relax. It does a lot of damage, I'll tell you that much. If they can't answer it, then this is going to do a lot of damage. But like most plants, after the turn's been played, it's going to get answered. Moving on to, how do you pronounce this? Carrotary. It's basically military, but with carrots. Now, I really like this card. I think it's great. It's a team-up as well, so you can put other strong plants in front of it. I've put 2 of these together and done 10 damage before, but wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. It has 2 health. Bungee Plumber. Yep. Bungee Plumber just answers most of these cards here. It really does get rid of so many good cards in the game, and why it's such an S tier ability. So, Carrotary, I don't use this the most out of all these plants. I do use it in aggro Citron, but Citron's the worst hero in the game, so even then it kind of lacks. Just smarty heroes in general. Rose, who else is smarty? Nightcap, all those a lot. I use Carrotary. Carrotary? They really have to make the names hard. This game was made for kids, and yet you're putting in these names they can't even pronounce. I can't even pronounce them, I'm 14. Anyway, moving on to Celery. This is basically the one-cost version of Military Carrot Boy. Now, I don't think this is as good as Carrotary, because, again, it just dies through everything. It does have team-up, though. So, yeah. I guess the advantage that plants have in general is just because if they just put a zombie down, you could just answer, or just put a plant down that's in way better in another lane. That's what I like about the plants, really. Celery is not that bad, I guess. Celery, I don't know. It's not the best turn 1 card. I do prefer other cards for turn 1. But for what this kind of does, it's fine. It's fine. Iceberg Lettuce. This is a very good card. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. We're not supposed to get to Iceberg Lettuce yet. Instead, we need to go to Vanilla. Yeah, it's just 3 cost 3/3. It's in the middle stats. That's all I can really say. I'm sorry, it's just vanilla. Anyway, Rescue Radish. This is way better than the zombie version of this plant. Reason is because it's a really good stats for turn 3. This bounces one of your guys off, so if they're ever in front of a zombie, just bounce them off. And because you can play that plant the same turn as Rescue Radish, you could just put it in another lane. That's why I really like Rescue Radish more than him, the firefighter. We'll get to him. Oh, just you wait until the next tier list. Oh Lord. More, I'm not done yet. It's also quite a good aggro card because it does a lot of damage for 3 cost. Well, it does 3. You could just put this in front of a big minion and for turn 3, and it's just going to end up most likely killing them. It's a very good card. Anyway, Morning Glory. Very good 1 cost. It's a 1 cost 2/2, so that's nice. It's got that stupid ability where it gets 1/1 after turn 6, but this one's actually okay. If you're in the late game and you need to get a lot of tempo down, then this is quite good for it. I mainly just use this in the late game to just be a host for Elderberry, but then again I'll probably most likely use Picassimo more, because that's worse. Let's go to the A tier, and why the fuck is Sweet Potato up there? Oh, sorry for the curse word, I didn't mean to say that. You know when you see a bad card in A tier or S tier, you kind of sometimes get angry, so that's why. Anyway, Iceberg Lettuce. This is such a good turn 1 card. They just put something really important down, like Tennis Champ. You freeze them, it basically just denies their whole existence. This is a very, very, very good card. I really like this card. This is good with Snowdrop, because it's low cost as well, so you can play Snowdrop on turn 1, hope it doesn't die, turn 2, they put a zombie in front of it, maybe try and kill it, or another zombie in another lane to do damage. Freeze it, this is going to do a lot of damage. Rose and Green Shadow are really good with Snowdrop. This is really good for stopping the zombies from getting a win. I've died because of Iceberg Lettuce before. And I've also won games with Iceberg Lettuce. This is a very good card. I really like this card. So, that's why it's an A tier. Spring Bean is basically the trampoline for the zombie side. I think they're both the same. I'll put trampoline in A tier as well in the zombie tier list. Well, this is just so good at getting rid of a big enemy they've played. If they've got a really high stat enemy on turn 3, which is doesn't really happen most, but any part of the game, this just denies everything. It's a good card. I really like this card. Pepper MD, very good for heal decks. In fact, you need this in every heal deck. Like I said before, Venus Flytrap and Pepper MD aren't the worst team up, but these are better team up with Heartachoke and is it Venus Fly? No, the environment where it heals you when the plant survives. I shall put the name for that. Where is it? Here. Yeah, Venus Flytrap Planet. Oh, whatever. This is really good for Heartachoke and Pepper MD. If Heartachoke's healing and doing all that damage and doing the cycle of just destroying the enemy, then this is going to make Pepper MD so strong. So, it's a really good card. You really need this in every heal deck, but it's amazing. Moving on to the S tier, Poison Ivy. Oh my goodness, this does so much damage on turn 3 if we play it right. If the zombie plays something on turn 3 that costs 3 brains, you would put this in another lane, done. You've just done a quarter of their health on turn 3. I really like this for Captain Combustible, or just any hero in general. This is such a good card, honestly. I mean, it does have the problem of getting removed the next turn, but once it's done 5 damage, it's gotten what it needs out of it. And sometimes you have removal cards like Banana Bomb, Berry Blast, so if they don't put a Greystone down, then they're pretty much dead. Unless they have their own removal cards like Bungee Plum, of course, but they don't even need 2 Bungee Plums for that, or they need something that's 3 damage. There's a Berry Blast for zombies, so they'd have to rely on their abilities like Z-Mech or Electric Boogaloo to do that damage. Or they could have Zombot's Wrath, but that costs 3 anyway, so it'd take them like the whole turn. Moving on to Bonk Choy, this is probably the best 1-cost plant for the premiums. This is so good. Well, premium uncommons. This is so good. Like, this is so much damage on turn 1. Again, it does get answered by Bungee Plumber, so it has that weakness, but if it doesn't, then it's going to do a lot of damage. It still does decent damage after. 2 damage isn't the worst. Especially when you buff this. So it's quite good. I use this with Get to Combustible, but I probably will replace it in the future. But it's really good for budget players, so if you're new to the game, then Bonk Choy is really good for you. 5p Shooter is amazing as well. Just a 2-cost 3-2 is amazing in general. Good damage, the same with Bonk Choy, but it doesn't lose that damage. And then you've got removal cards to back this up, and you've got other things to buff it. I really like this card. It's great. And finally, to end it all off, Bloomerang. Bloomerang is one of the best cards in the game. For turn 4, this does so much damage. It's strike through as well, so you can always buff it in the late game. This works really well with Power Flower, because this is a flower. So you're doing all that strike through damage. I use this with Aggro Walnut and Aggro Sword Flare. You just put down loads of Bloomerangs and Power Flowers and some Elderberries to do lots of strike through damage, and at the end heal yourself, so you just making sure that you survive longer. Really good. Recommend this card. You actually get Bloomerang in Solar Flare's missions, so it's never really going to be hard to get this card. You're going to get this card, and you need to keep it because it is an amazing card. So guys, that was my premium uncommon plants tier list. I will do the zombies next video, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to voice your opinions in the comments, then that's completely fine. As we all know, we all have our own opinions, so if you disagree with any of these, then that's absolutely fine. If you can talk about more things that I didn't explain with them, then be sure to put that down as well. So, I'll see you guys in the next one.